Hi leaders, hey, Mike Temple with you again. And this has really been an exciting and fun part of time of year for me. We're moving into mid-February, and we're doing basically one of two things, and that is finishing up some strategy sessions with some new clients. And we're also doing some strategy review with some of my prior clients, looking, maybe we've got a 5-year plan and we're looking to see we're in year 2, perhaps year 3. Are we on track, off track? Now, I've been doing this for 10 plus years. And there are a couple of elements that continually rise to the top that will determine if you're not just your strategy, but if your organization will succeed or if it will stumble. And one of those primary elements is a company culture. Now, there are 3 subsets to every organization's culture. That is, we have our partners, our observers, and our challengers. Now, partners, that's the subgroup that really do display the company values in action, in conversations, in attitude. Most of the time, they've got the values that we want. Everybody wants as many partners to the company culture as they can get. Our next group, we have the observers. Now, these are individuals who just kind of go with the flow. Whatever the prevailing wind is of the organization and the culture, that's them. They just kind of go with the flow. They're not going to hurt the organization, but they're usually not going to be a part of that group to kind of further the company values or the culture. Next, we have our challengers. Now, these individuals almost always never show the values, the attitude that you're looking for. In fact, they push against the organization, trying to turn your observers and your partners into challengers. Now, one technique that a lot of well-meaning and great leaders have tried, and I've never seen it work, is to isolate the challengers. Now, when I say isolate their challengers, that's exactly what I mean. They try to physically put the challengers in areas where they're not going to have a lot of contact with almost anyone else. In sales, they try to move them away from where they'll be interacting with customers or other members of the sales team. Sometimes they'll try to get them out of the sales area altogether someplace else. Accounting, they'll try to move them away from everyone else where they can just function by themselves with the hope of they're not going to affect other employees within the organization, and least of all, our customers. Now, let me tell you something. This almost never works. If you are in a people-oriented organization, and that is, if you have people who work for you and your customers are people, you're a people-oriented organization. Challengers with today's technology or just with their attitude will find a way to interact with almost everyone and anyone that they want to. For a little while, this might work, but it's a Band-Aid, because they will eventually figure out and find a way, how can I interact with everyone else? In fact, by trying to isolate your challengers starts to work against you. See, your partners and observers, they'll notice and they'll know what you're doing and why you're doing, and then they'll start to question you, the leader. Why are you going this route of isolating instead of eliminating from the organization? Yes, you're probably, if it's bad enough to where they become a challenger, you're going to have to remove them from the organization. I know I've had a lot of great leaders, well-meaning individuals say, Mike, I have to keep them because they're technically sound at what they do. I don't have anyone else to replace them. Look at what you're trying to do here. You're trying to isolate these people. If it has come to this point, you have got to make a really tough decision. And that is, do I choose this individual and their attitude, or do I choose my values? Everyone is watching. I always recommend, if these individuals have not gravitated and grabbed on to the company values, it's probably best to take a hard look and think, is it now time to make them available to the industry and someplace else? I'm Mike Temple, Leadership and Strategy Advisor, and as always, thank you so much for listening.